Welcome to the Prescott Lab Podcast, not just theory, practical science for everyone. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, a physician and integrative medicine researcher at the Ravenshade Institute for Human Health. Gentlemen, let me start with a truth that might make you lean in a little closer. Nearly 8 out of 10 women never reach orgasm from intercourse alone, and many of them have never told their partners. Think about that. You could have spent years believing you were satisfying her, when maybe she was quietly pretending. Now, before you start blaming age, testosterone, or how things used to be, let me tell you this. I've worked with men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who brought their relationships back to life, not with youth, not with gym-level stamina, but with skill, connection, and the right techniques. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. 3 science-backed techniques and 4 proven positions that can give her more pleasure than a man half your age. Even if your joints ache, your flexibility isn't what it used to be, or your energy dips by evening. But before we get into the good stuff, do me and every man who needs this knowledge a quick favor. Hit that like button. Not because I need the ego boost, but because every single like tells us this matters. It's what fuels this channel to keep creating more videos that actually change men's lives, not just their search history. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time so you never miss the next piece of advice that could completely change the way you connect with your partner. Today's session is going to start with one deceptively simple principle, something that once you master it can take her from "that was nice" to the most powerful climax she's had in years. So settle in, because the first technique could change everything you thought you knew about giving pleasure. Technique number 1, pressure and rhythm principle. Gentlemen, I've lost count of how many times I've seen this mistake. A man gets so focused on the finish line, his finish line, that he rushes through the very moments that could be making the deepest impact on his partner's pleasure. The pressure and rhythm principle is about flipping that mindset. Think less like a sprinter and more like a craftsman. You're not hammering nails, you're building a cathedral. And that cathedral is her arousal, steady, deliberate, beautifully designed to last until she can't take it anymore. When I say pressure, I mean the firmness and depth of your movement. Enough to reach her most sensitive areas, but never so forceful that it jolts her out of the moment. Picture a slow, steady tide washing up on the shore, not a crashing wave that knocks her over. Each movement should feel inevitable, intentional, and worth waiting for. Rhythm is just as critical. The Journal of Sexual Medicine found that women's arousal builds most effectively when stimulation is consistent. That means once you found the speed and angle that make her hips start to match yours, you hold that pace. Resist the urge to switch it up just to spice things up, unless she asks for it. Too much variety at the wrong time is like changing the song right before the chorus hits. Let me give you a story. A gentleman in his early 70s came to me frustrated. "Doc," he said, "I can't keep up like I used to. I think my wife is losing interest." We worked on nothing more than this principle. Within weeks, his wife told him she had the most intense orgasm she'd had in years, not because he became more athletic, but because he became more deliberate, steady pressure, unwavering rhythm, total focus on her. If you want to try this tonight, start by listening with your hands, your hips, and your ears. Notice her breathing when it deepens, when her hips start to meet yours. That's your sweet spot. Hold it. Let the anticipation do the work for you. And here's the beauty. Older men have the advantage here. You've learned patience. You're not rushing to prove anything. You can read her signals and make her feel safe enough to let go completely. Master this one principle, and you'll already be ahead of most men half your age. But if you want to stack the odds even higher in your favor, the next technique will blow the doors wide open, because it engages not just one, but 2 of her most powerful pleasure points at the same time. Technique number 2, Dual Stimulation Method. Here's a truth most men were never taught, and it's costing them more pleasure in their relationship than they realize. As many as 70 to 80% of women need direct clitoral stimulation to reach orgasm. That's not a flaw. That's not in her head. That's simply how the female body is wired. Ignoring this is like trying to bake bread without yeast. You can go through the motions, but you're never going to get the rise you're hoping for. The dual stimulation method is about embracing that reality and using it to your advantage. It means giving her internal stimulation and external stimulation at the same time, blending them like 2 melodies playing in perfect harmony. One melody is the deep, rhythmic penetration that satisfies her internally. The other is the precise, attentive touch to her most sensitive external nerve endings. When both are in sync, her pleasure builds faster, stronger, and more completely than with penetration alone. I remember a man in his late 60s who came to me frustrated. "Doc, unless it's oral, she never finishes." I told him it wasn't about replacing one with the other, it was about combining the best of both worlds. We worked on positions that gave him easy access to her clitoris while staying deeply inside her. He started using his hand during intercourse. Within weeks, his wife climaxed with him inside her for the first time in years. The look on his face, like a man who just found a lost part of himself. To make this work, choose positions that naturally keep her clitoris accessible. The modified missionary with pillow support or side-by-side lazy lovers are perfect for this. Use your hand, or if she's open to it, a small vibrator. Many couples I work with say that once they got past the initial shyness, adding a toy wasn't awkward, it was exciting. It took pressure off the man to be constant and let them focus on connection. The secret here isn't just touch, it's timing. Start slow. Let her body warm up. Pay attention to her breathing. Some women love gentle circles, others respond to steady pressure. You'll only know by exploring together, and when you find what works, keep it steady. Let her body ride that wave all the way in. Remember, when she sees that you're fully invested in her pleasure, her mind relaxes, her body opens, and her climax becomes almost inevitable. Now, dual stimulation can transform her experience. But if you really want to make every move perfectly tuned to her body in real time, so you never have to guess again, the next technique is the game changer. It's called the communication loop, and it's what separates the good lovers from the unforgettable ones. Technique number 3, communication loop. One of the most powerful tools for giving a woman pleasure doesn't involve your hands, your hips, or even the bed. It's your voice. Most men skip it entirely. They guess what feels good and they keep guessing for years. The communication loop ends that guessing game. It's about creating a constant exchange of feedback, spoken and unspoken, so you can adjust, adapt, and fine-tune every move to her body's unique needs in the moment. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. "Doc, talking during sex, won't that kill the mood?" In 30 years of working with couples, I can tell you it's the exact opposite. A simple "do you like this?" or slower or faster, in a low, genuine tone tells her you're there for her, not just yourself, and when she feels that, her guard drops. Her mind stops wandering, her body opens up. But here's the catch, the loop goes both ways. It's not just what you say, it's how you listen. Pay attention to her breathing, the sounds she makes, the way her hips move. If she leans into you, wraps her legs tighter, that's her body saying, "Yes, keep going." If she pulls back or her breath changes suddenly, that's your cue to ease off or change the angle. I remember a couple in their early 70s who told me their intimacy had become mechanical. They loved each other deeply, but it felt like they were just running the same script over and over. We introduced the communication loop. The very next time, he started checking in gently, making small adjustments based on her words and movements. She later told me, "It felt like we were learning each other all over again." One more thing, use positive reinforcement. When she tells you something feels amazing, don't just keep doing it silently. Say, "I love how you respond to that," or "that feels incredible with you." Those words deepen her emotional connection, and when the mind is fully engaged, the body follows fast. When you combine this loop with the pressure and rhythm principle and the dual stimulation method, you stop having just sex and start creating an experience that's entirely hers, and believe me, she'll remember that. And now that you've got the techniques, it's time to match them with positions that make them effortless to apply. The very first one, a classic, but with a small twist that can completely change her pleasure and save your back at the same time. Position number 1, modified missionary with pillow support. When most men hear missionary, they think basic, maybe even boring, but that's because they've never tried the modified missionary with pillow support. One small change, gentlemen, and this ordinary position becomes one of the most powerful for her pleasure, especially if you're over 60 and want comfort without losing connection. Here's how it works. Place a firm pillow under her hips. That's it. That single shift tilts her pelvis upward, changing the angle of penetration so you're hitting her G-spot directly and with less effort. The pillow does the lifting so your knees, hips, and back can relax. I once worked with a couple in their mid-60s who told me intercourse had become a chore. His back ached, her hips got sore, and they were both frustrated. I suggested this adjustment. A week later, they came back grinning like teenagers. He told me, "Doc, it felt like everything lined up perfectly. No strain, no stopping halfway." And she said the sensation was deeper, fuller, and more satisfying than anything in years. The beauty of this position is that it naturally encourages eye contact. You can stroke her hair, hold her hands, whisper to her, all while keeping that communication loop alive. And because her hips are elevated, her clitoris is right there for your hand or a small vibrator. That's dual stimulation on autopilot. For stamina, this setup is a gift. The pillow supports the angle so you don't have to thrust hard to keep her engaged. You can slow down, focus on your breathing, and hold a steady rhythm without burning out. If you want to try it tonight, just remember, firm pillow, just enough height to tilt her pelvis, not so much that it feels awkward. You're aiming for comfort, alignment, and connection. Now, this position is perfect for targeted G-spot stimulation. But what if you want something slower, softer, and even less physically demanding? A position where you could stay connected for as long as you want without your body paying for it the next day. That's exactly where we're headed next. Position number 2, side-by-side lazy lovers. If you've ever wished you could make love without feeling like you just finished a workout, the side-by-side lazy lovers position is your answer. It's gentle, it's comfortable, and it's one of the most underrated positions for deep connection, especially for men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Here's the beauty of it. You and your partner lie on your sides, facing each other. No weight on your knees. No strain on your back or shoulders. Your faces are close, your hands are free, and you can stay there as long as you like without breaking a sweat. One man in his late 60s told me he and his wife had almost given up on intercourse because they didn't have the stamina for traditional positions anymore. They missed the closeness, but the aches and fatigue made them dread the aftermath. We tried side by side. A week later, he came back and said, "Doc, it felt like we were in our own little world. We never had to stop." And she reached her peak without either of us feeling worn out. But here's the secret bonus. Because of the way your bodies align, her clitoris is easily within reach the entire time. That means you can combine deep, rhythmic penetration with gentle clitoral stimulation, the dual stimulation method we talked about earlier, without shifting position. And when you pair that with a slow, steady rhythm, you're giving her one of the most reliable paths to orgasm she'll ever have. This position also encourages conversation, laughter, and those quiet moments where you can look into her eyes and feel the bond between you deepen. The kind of intimacy that lingers long after the act itself. If either of you has hip stiffness, she can drape her top leg over your hip for more space. If you want to change the angle slightly, just shift your hips forward or backward, no need to break the flow. For many men, this is a chance to slow down and focus completely on her reactions. You're not thinking about holding yourself up, you're thinking about matching her breathing, feeling her body move with yours, and letting the moment build. And while side-by-side is perfect for comfort and closeness, there's another position that flips the dynamic entirely, one where she takes control, sets the pace, and often unlocks climaxes more intense than she's ever had before. That's where we're going next. Position number 3, woman on top, forward lean. There's something transformative about letting her take the reins, especially at this stage in life. The woman on top, forward lean position isn't just a change in angle, it's a change in energy. Suddenly, she's the one setting the pace, finding what feels right for her and guiding you both into a rhythm that works for her body. When she leans forward while on top, her pelvis tilts in a way that increases clitoral contact with your body. Every movement blends the deep, full sensation of penetration with the precise external stimulation most women need to climax. And because she's leaning forward, the pressure on her knees and hips is less than in the upright version, meaning she can stay there comfortably longer. From your perspective, this position is a gift. You're not worrying about holding yourself up or pushing through fatigue. You can place your hands on her hips, guide her gently, or let them wander, exploring her back, her sides, her thighs, while you focus on her pleasure. You have the freedom to really see her, to take in every reaction without the pressure to drive the whole time. I remember a man in his early 70s who told me his wife had never been able to reach orgasm through intercourse alone. We introduced this variation. A week later, he came back laughing. "Doc, I barely moved, she did everything, and she loved it." His wife smiled and said it was the first time she'd felt fully in control of her own pleasure. That's the magic here, giving her the autonomy to fine-tune the rhythm, depth, and angle herself. She can slow down when she's close, speed up when she wants more, and adjust until every nerve is singing. For many women, that freedom is the key to stronger, longer-lasting orgasms. And for you, it's an invitation to relax. Enjoy the view and be fully present without the strain. If you want to take it up another notch, encourage her to use her hands or a small vibrator while on top. The combination can push her over the edge in ways that surprise you both. Now this position gives her control and confidence, but the next one wraps it all back into full-body closeness. It's face-to-face, stable, and perfect for men who want passion without pain, and all you need is a sturdy chair. Position number 4, the chair embrace. Sometimes the most passionate moments happen when neither of you is lying down. The chair embrace blends the depth and intensity of penetration with the stability and comfort of simply sitting together face to face, close enough to feel every breath, every shift, every heartbeat. Here's how it works. You sit on a sturdy chair with your feet firmly planted. She straddles you facing you. This position takes almost all the physical strain off your back, hips, and knees. No awkward angles, no holding your body weight. Instead, you can focus entirely on her, your hands free to explore, your eyes locked on hers, your attention tuned into every reaction. For her, the angle is gold. The forward straddle allows for deep G-spot contact while her clitoris stays in close contact with your pelvis. If she moves in slow circles or gentle rocking motions, she's blending internal and external stimulation seamlessly. I remember a couple in their late 60s who came to me frustrated. His back pain made traditional positions short-lived, and she missed the feeling of being held during intimacy. We tried the chair embrace. The next time I saw them, his words were, "It felt like we were dancing without the music." And she added, "I felt held, cherished, and in control." This position is also a masterclass in emotional connection. You're close enough to kiss, to whisper, to read every flicker in her expression. And that kind of closeness, where she feels safe and completely seen, often makes it easier for her to let go physically. Want to enhance it? Encourage her to lean forward, chest to chest, for a few moments, then pull back slightly to change the angle. Or if she's open to it, she can use her hand or a small vibrator for extra clitoral stimulation while keeping you inside her. The chair embrace isn't about rushing. It's about savoring, taking your time, letting the physical and emotional connection build together until the release feels inevitable. Now that we've explored the 3 techniques and 4 positions, it's time to bring it all together and reveal how to use them in a way that makes this stage of life not a limitation, but the most satisfying chapter you've ever had. The most powerful orgasm, insight, and how to apply. Gentlemen, if you've been with me this far, you already know more than most men your age and more than a fair number of men half your age. But now we get to the insight that women over 50 tell me time and time again delivers the most powerful orgasms of their lives. And here's the kicker, it's surprisingly gentle on a man's body. It's not about speed, it's not about performance. It's about giving her body the exact conditions it needs to build and release in full. In hundreds of private conversations with women, one truth keeps surfacing. The most intense climaxes happen when they feel deeply connected, fully safe, and physically primed by both internal and external stimulation, all while the man holds a steady, predictable rhythm. That means the foundation is everything we've covered. The pressure and rhythm principle to keep her in the zone without jolting her out of it. The dual stimulation method, because the majority of women need clitoral engagement to finish. The communication loop, so you're not guessing, you're adjusting in real time. And the right position for her body and your comfort, whether that's modified missionary, side-by-side, woman on top, forward lean, or the chair embrace. But here's where the magic happens. Once you see her hips moving with yours, her breathing deepening, her muscles tensing, you resist the urge to change anything. You hold steady. You let the wave climb higher and higher until she can't hold it anymore. One man in his early 70s once told me, "Doc, I used to think the goal was to surprise her. Now I know the goal is to give her something she can trust, and that's what takes her over the edge." His wife described it as the kind of climax that makes you forget where you are. Applying this insight doesn't mean memorizing a routine. It means creating a space where her body feels safe enough to let go completely. And gentlemen, when you get this right, she won't just remember the climax, she'll remember you as the man who gave it to her. Now we've put all the pieces on the table, the techniques, the positions, the insight that ties it all together. The only thing left is to show you how to weave them into your life so intimacy becomes not just possible, but extraordinary in this season of your life. That's exactly where we're going next. Conclusion, gentlemen, we've covered a lot today. You now hold 3 techniques and 4 positions that can change not only how you make love, but how you connect. We talked about the pressure and rhythm principle, the dual stimulation method, and the communication loop, the core skills that make her feel safe, desired, and able to let go completely. We explored 4 positions designed for both pleasure and comfort. the modified missionary with pillow support. The side-by-side lazy lovers, the woman on top forward lean and the chair embrace. And we brought it all together with the insight that the most powerful orgasms happen when you give her connection, consistency, and trust. Here's what I want you to remember: great intimacy after 60 isn't about being younger or stronger. It's about patience, skill, and the courage to adapt. Your partner won't remember how many times you switched positions. She'll remember how you made her feel. Safe, seen, wanted. So don't let this just be another video you watch and forget. Try one thing tonight. Maybe it's the pillow under her hips. Maybe it's asking her softly what she likes. Maybe it's holding that perfect rhythm just a little longer. And if this video gave you something worth trying, hit that like button. Not for me, for every man out there who needs to know this isn't over for him. Every like tells us to make more videos that help you keep your connection alive. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you'll never miss the kind of advice that could completely change the way you share your life and your bed with the woman you love. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott from the Ravenshade Institute for Human Health. Stay strong, stay connected, and remember, you're not too old for great sex. You're just getting started.